Hey my loves, welcome to today's episode, which is all about self-awareness. But this episode is not like any of my other episodes because Julia from the Being Better podcast is on this episode today. And I literally knew when creating this episode, I needed her on it ASAP. In her podcast, which I will link down below, she talks about productivity techniques, habit development, physical and mental practices, and even has multiple interviews with amazing and valuable people. She actually has an episode that I am on, which I will link down below, all about procrastination. And oh my god, I'm just so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. And just literally, she's like the sweetest thing, and I know you guys will gain so much value from her. So definitely go listen to her podcast if you in any way, shape, or form like mine. So welcome back to Growing with Kat. I'm your host Kat, and this podcast is all about helping you find ways to balance and unify your mind, body, and soul. I post these episodes every Tuesday and Friday, and in each episode I dive into steps you can take to help you on whatever journey you are on. And I cover topics such as wellness, the real shit that happens in business, raising your vibrations, how to create the life you desire, self-development, and much more topics. Hey my loves, I am so excited to announce my first collaborated episode on my podcast with Julia, the host of the Being Better podcast. Hey Julia, how have you been?
I have been so great. This has been such a good day. Oh, I think I'm speaking very loudly. No, I think this day was awesome. I had a very good interview yesterday, which I'm very proud of. It's going to be up Thursday, and it's probably up when you're listening to this, and I've been really proud of that. And also today was a bit hard when it comes to, I had a lot of work, which was like this kind of really boring work, but you know, I did it and I'm proud of it. I kind of grind my teeth and I did it, and you know, now I have the pleasure to talk to you, and then I will just take my blanket and read some books, and that will gonna be my afternoon. And it's my sister's birthday, so then we're gonna have some friends over.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so hopefully that will be a nice Wednesday afternoon.
So it's been a busy day for you. Let me know the episode though, so I can link it in the bio so they can watch it. So before we start, I want to talk about what is self-awareness. So the definition of self-awareness, which of course I got from Google, is conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. But I would actually love to know what your own definition of self-awareness is.
I think it's a lot similar to what Google says. I just think, you know, it's being aware of your feelings and your thoughts, but also of your actions. So, you know, maybe being aware that you have the need to sleep all the time, or being aware of why you're sad, or being aware why you are angry at someone, or being aware that you are angry at someone. So just knowing yourself enough so you can pick up the feelings, the emotions, or like the physical things that you feel. So, you know, pain or pleasure or bliss or being tired sometimes. Even I think the feelings we experience in our bodies are also something we have to be aware of. So yeah, I would say that, you know, that's pretty similar to what Google said.
I like that. I don't know, self-awareness and me have just, I guess I would say like I'm more self-aware than what I was as like a kid. But sometimes you can just like kind of forget, I guess you can say, like you get so into like your life that you forget like, how am I feeling? How am I doing? And then you just then feel like you get hit by a truck, and that's the whole burnout. And yeah, you gotta, I know with self-awareness, okay, let me start this with, I have not been feeling the best. So I am not the most happiest of cats, but self-awareness has been a big thing that I have been working on this week with dealing with depression. It has been hard. So I have been needing to take time to figure out, like, hey, like, how am I? Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? And, you know, you think that you beat certain habits, I guess you can say, but then you get stuck in that cycle. And then those habits just end up coming up. Like with me, I overwork myself, and I used to overwork myself when I was in high school, and I still overwork myself being my own boss. So it's like damn.
Yeah, I think, I was thinking, because you asked me about like the tips to be more self-aware, and I will get into that later. But I think being self-aware and making sure you are self-aware is also making sure you are gentle with yourself and, kind to yourself, because sometimes you are not aware of these things because your subconscious is scared of you, and you don't want to feel bad that you're scared, that you're angry, or that you're tired. So you're not even being aware of these things. So making, like, I wanted to say making an environment, but like making an environment within you which is kind and gentle, I think is very important when it comes to being self-aware. Because, right, only when our subconscious feels safe, feels nurtured, feels loved, it speaks. And it can talk to us and say, I'm not feeling my best, or I'm a little bit tired. And only when it feels safe, it can really say that. So I think it's completely fine that, it's not your best week or month or whatever. We all go through that. But the only thing is that you cannot beat yourself up for that. You have to make sure that you're saying, oh, I'm feeling down, but not judging, right? I think judging is why a lot of us are fighting with being aware, because we are kind of scared of our own judgments.
Yeah, I remember growing up, like, because I've dealt with depression since like middle school, so it's been a thing. But before, I used to be so, I guess, ugly with myself because I was so against it. I was against feeling, I don't know, I was just so rough with myself. So like if I got sad, it's like, why the hell are you getting sad? Like, what's the problem? Like I was so like kind of like mad at myself that I felt these emotions. And I feel like if I took time to like listen to myself and be there for myself, like it wouldn't have taken so long to start, taking those steps. Growing up, like being very young, I feel like in this generation now, though, like people are becoming more self-aware, thankfully, because a lot of people do talk about like self-care and giving to yourself and all that stuff. And I don't think I ever grew up with seeing people who did that as much as kids do now, I guess you would say. So thankfully, like people who do deal with this stuff are growing up and seeing that, hey, you are like journaling is a thing, talking to yourself is a thing, giving to yourself is a good thing. So I feel like now this generation is more kinder with themselves, but sometimes you can just be nasty with yourselves, and it's something that we need to realize, we need to learn, and we need to grow from. And if someone's dealing with it now, it's going to be a journey. Like, I'm not going to say that the first day that you sit here and ask yourself, hey, how are you doing, that everything's going to be okay, because it's not going to work like that. You have to constantly ask yourself and be self-aware, because you can lose yourself in seconds. And what I mean lose yourself is by getting into a cycle, dealing with life, I guess you would say, and waking up and going to work, and then getting home and doing all this stuff, and then going to sleep. Or if you're just going to school, it can be the same thing. It's just life. You need to be self-aware with yourself every single day, and just ask yourself the simple question of like, hey, how are you doing, and what do you need? Like, yeah, I guess that's really
I really think it's really nice that you're talking about maybe you're not best at self-awareness, but then I think it's really nice that you are recording this episode even though you are not feeling your greatest, and you're not like pretending everything is fine, everything is great. You're showing you're aware that you're not feeling great, and you're showing that it's okay. not to feel great. And I think those kind of episodes or those kind of conversations are very needed. So I just wanted to, say good for you and good for all of us in this creative space.
So, like I talked about kind of like me with self-awareness, but I wanted to know, like, what made you become self-aware, or were you always self-aware with growing up? Because I remember us talking, and you seem very self-aware with yourself, and I love it, and I look up to it because I want to be there one day. But, like, how did you start? Like, were you just always like that?
Yeah, I think I was always self-aware. Like I said when I was talking to you, I was a very weird kid in the way that I was always talking to myself. So that's what I always did. When I was a kid, that was out loud. So I was, talking and chatting to myself all the time. My parents were sick of me, like, really, they were so annoyed, and I don't blame them. But then when I was older, I still had that mental monologue, but it's just inside, right? So that's kind of funny, but I think this is like the quality that helped me to be aware. So now I have kind of this habit when I feel bad or when I feel good, I just ask myself questions. So I can ask myself, "Hi Julia, like, how are you? What's up?" Or sometimes I'm really annoyed at myself because I don't want to be so miserable, and I'm like, "Fuck, Julia, like, what is wrong?" And recently when I had that, I took myself on a walk and I asked myself out loud. So I was walking on the street, and I asked myself, like, what's wrong? And I had to answer the question, like I am in this interview right now and answering questions. I had to do the same thing, and yeah, it really helps. It started as this just thing of me. My sister, I think it started because my sister is older, like 3 years older, and growing up, she didn't really like playing with me when she was like, I don't know, 18. So she was a teenager. She didn't like to play with her younger sister. That's completely understandable. So because of that, I was my playmate. I was my own playmate, and I was thinking of myself as a friend. So I think of myself as a person, but it's really weird. It's kind of embarrassing, but I also feel think of myself as a completely like different person, like my friend, like my best friend. So I have these kind of conversations with my imaginary friend who is me. And this kind of developed into, me wanting to have a playmate, to right now me being able to answer my own questions. And also, I think what also is really helpful, I was a competitive swimmer for 5 years, over 5 years. It started when I was like 11. So when you have, those hour and a half practice, when you're just swimming and swimming and swimming, and, it's like kilometers of swimming, you don't really, you have to deal with your own thoughts. And, I always had, I was either doing like some weird mathematical equations or just singing to myself or thinking of weird things. So that solitude is also something, you have to learn how to be with yourself when you swim. And so when I stopped swimming, I went to running, which is another sport when you're all alone with your thoughts. So I think those practices also helped me to learn how to be with myself, because when I was a kid, I couldn't stand being alone. So I had to make myself be another different person, actually, a playmate. But now, but later, I learned that I don't have to imagine, a different playmate or anything, because I can be alone and I don't have to even have that monologue inside, because even silence is not going to be painful. It's not going to hurt me. It's completely fine. So I think I can thank swimming and running for that.
I like how you say that, the imaginary friend. And I feel like we should all think of ourselves as a friend. Because I feel like if we think of ourselves as a friend, we wouldn't say such harsh things to ourselves that we tend to say to ourselves. Because let's be honest, sometimes we can look at ourselves and be like, you're ugly. But then would we ever say that to a friend? No, we wouldn't. So we can sit here and bring ourselves down, and we are supposed to be bringing ourselves up. Like, in this world, no matter what we do, like, let's be honest, we're going to be judged by someone. On some real shit, we're going to be judged by someone, something, whatever. So we need to be our best friends. We need to be there for ourselves, because we have ourselves. Like, we're our own humans. We know, like, we personally know what's going on in our lives. I know what has happened in my life. You've known what has happened in your life. Everyone has known what has happened in their lives. So they're like the best people to talk to. Like, I'm the best person to talk to with myself. You're the best person to talk to with yourself, because we know our lives. So I think that was just amazing that you said the best friend thing, because that's just completely true. Like, I really never saw myself as my own friend, I guess you would say. Like, I always saw myself like as every limiting belief or pissed off belief I had of myself. I only saw myself as that. Like, I saw myself as worthless. I saw myself as ugly. I saw myself as this. And I know a lot of other people do, and I know, like, sometimes you can probably feel like that sometimes. And being self-aware, and why I'm talking about this, is the thing that kind of like helps us out. It's like that hand that we can grab onto, and that will pull us out of that like water, I guess you would say.
Yeah, you cannot help yourself. You cannot start caring about yourself if you don't even know that something is wrong. So you cannot act if you cannot repair something if you don't think it's broken.
Yep. And trust me, I didn't think I was broken until I realized it. I was like, oh shit. I was like, shit, I got a lot of work to do. When I realized that, oh my God, I realized how much work. And it's good though, because it's a journey. It's a journey, and it doesn't matter when you get to learn about yourself. When you start, it's such a rewarding thing no matter when you start.
Yeah, but I guess I don't see it as like work. When I notice that something's wrong and I have to repair it, for me it's just like I'm nurturing something. Like, we had a bunny when I was a kid. We found a bunny. My grandpa found a bunny because actually our dog bit it. That's a completely different story. But I remember, we all just took this rabbit and started feeding it. He was like a couple of months, and we were feeding it with milk. And I think of it when I feel shitty. I try to think of myself as that little rabbit, that I have to nurture myself and let myself sleep in, or let myself talk to someone and be heard. And yeah, I guess it's hard. When you say something it's work, you usually don't want to do it. So I try not to talk about it like it's work. I have work to do, because then I wouldn't ever do it.
True. I feel like maybe that's how I'm thinking about it. And I feel like maybe if I changed it to that, because right now what I'm struggling with is taking care of myself, but then understanding like, hey, I'm low-key creating a business. I kind of need to keep on track of all my deadlines, because like I didn't post an episode this Tuesday, and that's like the first ever like Tuesday that I've never posted an episode, and I may not post an episode this Thursday, and it's like, fuck, like if I just maybe cared about my emotions more and like really took time for myself, I wouldn't be in this predicament now, like dealing with the balance of work. Like right now, that's what I'm struggling with, is the balance of work and myself.
I think what maybe I'm trying just to guess here, but maybe what you are struggling with is not like, I mean, I know that you want to make sure you remember about all the deadlines, and that's completely fine, but maybe you just set too many deadlines for yourself, and that's the thing, like you want to be on track, but maybe you just have too many things on your plate. Like starting is like the exponential growth chart, you're starting easy, only to one day being able to explode like coronavirus cases. That's like the most popular thing when you think about exponential growth. So I think sometimes, right, we want to achieve our goals and be able to make sure all the deadlines are met, but then we have to just make sure we're not just putting too much on our plate.
Yeah. I have to make sure I'm not. I do that too well. Like I always say, I always bite off more than I can chew. It's a normal thing of mine, and I need to learn how to not. I need to learn how to like take my time, and that's what I'm like mostly taking like this. If I take a week off, then I take a week off, but I'm mostly like sitting there and thinking, okay, like how can I balance this, but how am I not biting off more than I can chew, like, and trying to figure it out. And if things don't work, then I take things out. So that's why, like I told you, I'm not posting 3 podcast episodes no more. I'm posting 2 because that relieves my plate a lot with all the work that gets put in. So yeah, it's just, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's hard. The thing is, I know I'm giving a lot of advice here, but I have to be honest. It's not like I am super great with myself and making sure that I'm not overworked. It's just that I'm actually sometimes lazy, and then I just sometimes don't want to do it. And because rest is so important to me, it's not because I make sure I get rest. I would get rest anyway, because sometimes I just don't feel like doing the work, and sometimes I'm procrastinating. So it's really hard for me to be overworked, because sometimes I just don't feel like doing the work. Sometimes I'm lazy, and sometimes I'm doing things last second. So I guess, this quality that I hate of myself, being a procrastinator and sometimes think things last second are bad, but in this way that I can never really overwork myself, that's helpful.
Yeah. I need to embrace being tired sometimes, because sometimes I'll be tired or lazy and not want to do anything, and I'm still like, no, I have to do it. And that's just like, it's like, really, I don't. Like, really, I can take like probably an hour, do whatever the fuck I want, and then come back to it and do it. So I'm trying to find that like balance of, I don't know.
But are you like, you said like you're feeling tired, so you are self-aware actually. You're just kind of ignoring it.
Yeah. I ignore myself way too much. I think I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'm tired, or I don't want to do something, and then I'll still do it though, because it's like, shit, this is a deadline. And sometimes I feel like I give advice, but then I don't take, like you were saying, like I give advice to people, but then I don't take my own fucking advice.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like, what? Like, I just don't understand myself sometimes when I do that.
Yeah,
but
so I guess that when it comes to like this self-awareness that we're talking about today, it's very important to say, be self-aware, but also don't ignore your self-awareness, because a lot of the times we are, but we just push through. And if we are feeling happy or angry or sad, doesn't matter what it is, we just push through and keep doing the hustle, and we are not present. I think being present is something very key when it comes to self-awareness.
So before we start talking about advice and tips, I wanted to talk about the difference in being self-aware and not being self-aware, because trust me, I have seen a big difference, at least in my life. So before I was self-aware, I think I was like a just ticking time bomb ready to explode, and it was just bad. So with me personally having a lack of self-awareness, I had trouble understanding my emotions. I didn't know why I felt a certain way, and to be honest, I would hate myself for feeling that way. And because I would turn into my worst enemy, like we were saying, we should be our best friends, I was literally my own worst enemy when my emotions got out of hand. I would suppress my emotions, like my sadness and hurt, but then it would end up like just backfiring on me and turn into anger, and my actions would just never make sense. And this is why I call it, like, in a way, a losing battle, because if you don't take care of yourself, it's like if, I don't know, like if dynamite was ticking, right? If like there was a long cord and dynamite was ticking, even if you were to put that dynamite in a little box, let's say, it would still explode. I don't know, that literally makes sense but doesn't make sense at the same time, but it's going to explode. You as a person, you're going to explode if you suppress your emotions. If you're gonna like explode like that freaking girl from Willy Wonka, the one that turns into a whole blueberry. Like, that's how it is. You're just gonna...
But she'd exploded?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Are they like...
Because, like, there's, like, a difference. Because I remember that she was, like, being rolled through the, like... Yeah, okay. Never mind. That's...
I'm the one who brought it up. But, like, yeah, you're gonna boom, like the blueberry, and you're just gonna explode. And it's... That's why you need to... I don't know. Like, if you shake... It's like I know there's something that, like, if you, like, maybe a champagne bottle or something like that, if you shake it enough, it'll like explode.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just
too much pressure ends up in explosion. That's basic physics. So I think champagne is good.
So
a good
if
example
you ever
here.
think of yourself either as the blueberry from Willy Wonka or a champagne bottle. But if you keep anything like bottled up, it's going to explode most likely. Like, there's no way and chance that you are going to be able to neglect yourself and not sit here and explode. Like, I know this. This is coming from experience, from a lot of experience, okay? I'm so good when growing up. I was so good when growing up. I was neglecting myself all the time. It wasn't good, and that is why I'm here talking about this. But I actually also read that a lack of self-awareness can be that you shut people down when they question your beliefs. You may make excuses for your failures. Maybe it may be hard for you to create realistic goals for yourself, or you may struggle with time management. And when it said, like, you shut down people with questions of your beliefs, I was kind of thinking of a fixed and growth mindset, because I know with a fixed mindset, a lot of people will kind of be scared to do things out of their comfort zone, or if people try and like question them or give them any advice, they won't listen to people, from what I read, of course. And a growth mindset is more like doing things that scare you, is being okay with failure, is being this. I know these are two different things, but that's kind of like the little connection I made personally for myself. Do you have any like anything? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard for me to talk about the lack of self-awareness, because, like, I think I've always been kind of a bit, I think I'm more self-aware now than I was like 5 or 6 years ago. But I think what I can talk about is what self-awareness does for my life, and imagine what would happen if I didn't have it. So I think there were a couple of dark situations in my life when I just spiraled, and that self-awareness kind of rescued me, because I was like, whoa, I don't want to do that. So when I was like a early teen, I was like, I don't know, trying to lose some weight or something, and actually I lost more than I would like. So I noticed it, and I was like, whoa, I don't want to do that, and everything went back on track. But if that didn't happen, then I would just get into that dieting mindset or something. So I think that was really helpful. Also, I'm trying to think about the fixed mindset, how not being self-aware leads to not being able to go out of your comfort zone. And I kind of think of it again like being gentle with yourself. So usually we're not self-aware because, like, we're scared of we're scared of being aware. So it's something is going on that we are either embarrassed about, or we are scared that if someone's, or that we're going to be punished. So that's why we're not even want to notice these things ourselves. So that's why we're not self-aware. So maybe when it comes to that fixed mindset, it's about being really scared of something, and because you're not self-aware, it means that you don't want to be self-aware. So maybe you're scared, and maybe that you're scared, you don't want to go out of your comfort zone. So I think it's kind of hard for me to talk about what the lack of self-awareness does to you, but for me, what self-awareness did is that I noticed me spiraling and started to get back before something bad happened. And there were a lot of weird situations that I have with my goals and my disappointments, and I could fail at a lot of things that I attended to do, even if it's running or swimming or all of these things. But I think with the self-awareness, I was able to keep doing these things, because every time I felt, disappointed or overtrained or something, it's that was helpful. And also I think it's not always I am being self-aware, but sometimes you just being self-aware is accepting the comments of others. So when I was overtrained, I didn't notice that. My friends and my father saw that I was overtrained. And being self-aware, I think, is also accepting all of the comments that we get about, maybe you are, Julia, maybe you are overtrained. And if I wasn't self-aware, I would just dismiss it, and I'm just wave my hand at it and say, no, I'm not. But I think that self-awareness is also very, if you want to build some awareness, if you're in your life and it's hard for you, maybe make sure at first that you have that support network, that you have these people who can be a mirror to you. I think that could be very, very helpful.
I like that you said that. I really do. And you actually answered a question I was going to ask you a little bit later, so that was actually perfect. But I love that. I think you were the best person I could have talked about self-awareness with, and I'm glad I did, because I am right now learning things. I'm sitting there more just wow, listening.
Yeah. I love that. People think that I'm just looking for guests just to have conversation with, but to have an interesting podcast. But actually, I'm just looking for people who can help me in my life. And it's actually podcasting is kind of selfish in that way, because the questions that I ask, I'm thinking, I want them to be interesting, but a lot of the time I just freaking want to learn, and I just ask the questions that I would ask them anyway. So if I had there are people, Yuval Noah Harari, right? He's the author, and I was talking, the author of Sapiens and all that, amazing stuff. Anyway, he's a historian, and people have it on, people have him on shows and ask him about, the future, the past. And what I would just ask him is how do you freaking manage to write a 400-page book with so many freaking studies that he had, and that's what I would ask. But anyway, I'm just going on all
it's
tangents,
all good,
but
don't worry.
I just think that podcasting is great in that way.
It is, and I'm glad that you pushed me to do this, because I was really I don't want to do this podcast. And it's not because I didn't want to do it with you, it's just because I didn't want to do anything. I'm my energy's too down, I can't do this. But to be honest, this has helped me so much for this morning, because I know after this podcast I'm gonna be excited, and who knows, maybe I'll edit Thursday's episode, maybe I won't, maybe I'll take time for myself. I'll figure it out. But that's the point of being self-aware, is being able to figure out what you need. And oh my god, I was reading something and it was protect your energy, not balance your energy, not your time, or something with that. Like thinking of time as, in a way, energy. And I was like, bro, because I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, it's 10 a.m., then 12, then 1, then 2. But it's like, what do I need? Like my energy, like, do I want to go out on a walk? Do I want to journal? Do I want to take a break? Do I want to work for 2 hours? And it's being able to ask yourself, like, hey, what do I want to do, and not just like be stuck. Because sometimes I can stay stuck on the computer for just hours on end, just working. And I need to be able to like get out of that.
Yeah, I think you can say manage your energy instead of manage your time.
I think that is exactly what it is. Thank you, because I was gonna be stuck on that shit. But so that you talked about what it has helped you, self-awareness. So I'm gonna actually talk about what it So now that you talked about how self-awareness actually has helped you, I'm actually going to talk about how self-awareness has helped me. So I have actually been journaling more, which has helped with my anxiety and depression a bunch, and I'm just able to get like all of the shit out of my head, and it really does improve my overall day, health, and life. Because for YouTube I review mental health apps, and right now I'm reviewing the Jor app. It's like a journaling app, and I think like that was actually perfect for how I've been feeling, because it's like journaling prompts, and you got to put things in and insights, and I'll talk more about it in the episode that I do the review on. But it has really actually helped me out a bunch. I'm actually not afraid to fuck up no more. Before I wanted like everything to be perfect, and now like I'm just, I can like actually like run a business and fuck up and be okay with it. Cause like I'm like, starting a business is just, it's all filled with just fuck ups. Like you're gonna fuck up some way, somehow, because you don't know how to do it, and that's just life, and you learn from your mistakes and you do better. And I love that finally I can be okay with that. And actually becoming more self-aware, I'm becoming more understanding and patient with myself at times. Now, again, sometimes I can get stuck in the cycle and the bad habits, but when I am more self-aware, I can actually be more understanding, and I can actually like sit here and be like, okay, what do I need? And I can actually like sit through journaling, because before I was like, fuck journaling, like I don't have time for that. And now it's like, okay, spend like just 15 minutes. Like if you think about your whole day, 15 minutes to just journal is really nothing. Like if we really take time to think about our whole day. But before, I used to be so like, oh no, I don't have the time for that. So I've been working on finding more time for, I guess, myself, and it has been very, very beneficial. And I really just, again, I want to like exemplify, or one word, I can't think right now, but when you said to have people around you that are like a mirror to you, I love that, because that is important. It's important to have that support. It's important to have those people to tell you like, yo, you're doing something wrong here, like take some time for yourself. And it's good to have people like that, because if you don't, and everyone's just on their own, you're just, I don't know, it's not going to help you if you're not having those people around you. So I really like that you said that. But it is now time to dive into our tips and tricks of becoming more self-aware. So I would actually love for you to start with your tips and tricks of what self-awareness has like helped you, and what tips and tricks you can give other people to help them with self-awareness. That's my question.
Sure. So actually, I just wanted to return a little bit and just say and comment. I am not a big... I journal, but I don't do it consistently. So I wanted just to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people think that, journaling is like the only way. And I will talk about the other ways later, but I just want to say, for each their own. And I am not, I like journaling, but for me it's a little bit of a waste of time, because actually I just, I prefer having these little checkups with myself and asking myself during the day, how am I doing? And writing that on paper is, I don't need to do it all the time. I only journal when I feel like really crappy and I cannot understand my thoughts, and then I have to write them down to kind of get them. But it only happens when I'm like really fucked up. So that's like the only time when I journal. So if you think that you have to journal, maybe you know there are other ways. So right, my tips and tricks, I have a couple of them actually. And I'm gonna start with what I said earlier. So making sure that you are gentle with yourself and you are not judging yourself, because you have to make sure that you can be your own friend, and you have to make sure that your self-conscious can be open to you. And if you are saying I fucked up, or if you are saying oh I'm so bad, it's really important not to see these things as fuck ups. You know, it's important to see them as I did something not in the way I planned, but it doesn't mean that I cannot, you know, get better or change it now. So I think first thing that I would recommend for others is to make sure that you are your friend and that you are not scared of your own judgments. So making sure that you can actually talk with yourself, or you can say I'm not feeling okay, or you can say I'm feeling tired. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would recommend is actually just talking to yourself. I know it can be weird. It's seen as something that crazy people do, and I kind of agree. I see myself as a crazy person, so I see that. But you know, you don't have to talk to yourself if you want to be self-aware. Just ask yourself questions, just once a day, or even not once a day, only if you're feeling bad. For starting, I think that's helpful enough. Just ask yourself, why? What am I feeling and why am I feeling that? You know, you can have some post-it notes all over your place that have these two questions written down. So what am I feeling and why am I feeling that? I think these are very helpful questions. And then the next thing is, I wanted to say meditation, but I think more being present. So usually why we are not self-aware is just because we're not present. We are hustling. We are, rushing to do the next thing, rushing to work, rushing to lunch, rushing to work out, rushing to, I don't know, sleep, whatever. And we cannot have that little time to sit down and actually notice our feelings, or the physical sensations. We don't notice that our back has been, crunched all the day because of the stress. We don't even notice these things because we are not present. And then you can forget that, if you feel tired because you don't even let yourself be tired because you're always hustling. So I think I wanted to say, meditation is helpful, and I think it's very helpful, but meditation is just a way to be present. So meditation is great because you have to sit with your thoughts, and meditation is just about being aware. So you have to sit cross-legged or not, doesn't really matter. Just sit, and you have to notice your breath, notice your thoughts, notice your physical sensations. But I think it can be pretty intimidating if you go from not being self-aware at all. Meditation can be a little bit hard. So I would recommend, if you're just starting out, have 5 or 10 minutes of your day to sit down and ask yourself questions, these two questions. What am I feeling and why am I feeling that? Or what am I doing and why am I doing that? And it can be your meditation, actually. Just asking those two questions that is completely enough. Then when you start to make it into a habit, you can go and do meditation because I think meditation is a lot, and it can be pretty intimidating. So yeah, and the only thing, the last thing is, I guess, if you have the time, maybe try endurance sports. And I am a big crazy freaking person. I love endurance sports. I love sports like single sports, I think that you can say. I really don't like team sports. I'm really bad at them. That's why I've always either been swimming or running or cycling. And I think those sports are great because you have to learn how to be alone with yourself. And, if you're just starting, you can, play some music or listen to a podcast, and then gradually learn how to be alone. But I think those practices are really helpful because, you do two things at once. You get a workout in, and also you get a workout when it comes to your self-awareness and being alone. So there are a lot of things said. I hope you can take advantage of at least a couple of the tips that I talked about.
So I'm mesmerized. I'm just listening like, wow. With the meditation, I know for me, starting with meditation and of course lacking in self-awareness a lot. I know for me, meditation, if it's I cannot last in meditation way too long. Like, so 5 to 10 minutes, like you were saying, is actually very simple. And sometimes it can be hard though. Like sometimes I'll be like, I'll be sitting there and it'll be like 2 minutes past. I'm like, how long? And I'm like, how long do I have? And it's something that you have to learn how to be okay with just being by yourself. And that's something I'm starting to get more comfortable with, learn more about. I'm trying to figure myself out on the way. So like I really loved all your tips. Like I've so much, wow, just knowledge.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that really, when you're meditating, you want to sit still and you want to focus on your breath. And I would really not recommend for beginners to do meditation if you want to be self-aware, because you're going to focus on your breath and you're going to, again, ignore all your feelings. So if you're just starting out, don't do meditation. Just, sit down and ask yourself questions, because meditation is like next level stuff, and noticing these things that are not loud. But when it comes to self-awareness, it's like just turning a little bit the volume up and then listening to the things that are actually screaming at you. But meditation is like a completely different thing. So I think meditation is amazing and it's great, but it's just a little bit different thing, and it can be intimidating. So that's why I would recommend just starting easy. But also journaling. I was, I shit a little bit about shit over journaling, but no, it's good. It's just I prefer talking to myself like a crazy person.
Like you said, each your own. I say that too. It's like we give these tips and tricks to hopefully help you guys out, but we know that there may be tips that you guys don't like, and there may be tips that you guys love, and it's up to you. This whole episode is about self-awareness, so it's up to you to sit here, and if you want to try all these tips, it's up to you to sit here and be like, okay, how did this help me? Do I like this? Do I want to ever do this again? And you may never want to do it again, or you may give it a try later, or you may love it. I know with me, with meditation, what has helped me is guided meditations, is when people are kind of talking to you. I know gratefully when Corona wasn't a grateful thing, but a lot of things had a lot of free shit. And I know Headspace, which is a meditation, it helps you with it's an app about meditation.
Yeah,
yes,
I know this app. It has
a lot of,
I mean, I haven't tried it, but I've heard about it.
I know I got it for free because of Corona. Even though it costs something, I got it for free for a year, which I'm grateful about. And it's a lot of guided meditations, and they do have different minutes, 5, 10, 20. So I like to do those 5-minute meditations, the guided ones, because they'll kind of talk to you and they'll take you through it, so you don't feel just alone. So you're just not alone with some ambient music in the back trying to figure it out. But yeah, so if you are a beginner and you want to get into meditation, again, I think what you said, like asking yourself questions and starting with that first is like perfect, because I didn't do that. I just jumped into meditation. And I think if I took time to like sit with myself and maybe like breathe and like take those 5 minutes, ask myself questions, I would be maybe better at meditation. It's all, again, each to their own.
I see meditation as a different thing, because when you're doing meditation, but I think it's a different thing. It's like it's about self-awareness, but I think asking questions is something that you like really want to understand the things and really talk about it with yourself. And meditation is kind of just about focusing and learning that when it comes to the vipassana meditation, the mindfulness meditation, it's kind of about noticing that things are always changing and being okay with change. So yeah, it's helpful, but it's not ideal when you want to be aware. I think talking and actually understanding and like feeling and right, just having these kind of checkups with yourself, I think it's more important for beginners.
You're right, because self-awareness, unless you're meditating and you're bored and you start asking yourself questions, because that has happened to me. Like sometimes I'll get bored and I'm like, okay, so what do I need today? Like what do I got to do? So like you're right, if you just jump into meditation without really figuring out what you need to do, it may just the meditation will end up turning into you asking yourself questions of like, hey, what do I need to do? What do I need for myself? Because I know that tends to happen to me. But you're completely right. Like if you want to be more self-aware, you need to get to know yourself.
Meditation
you need
is
to ask
not
yourself
about
questions.
having thoughts, it's because it's about having a clear mind. And with self-awareness, I think you have to have these thoughts and you have to focus on these questions. And in meditation, you should ignore them and ignore your monkey mind and ignore your ego. Notice it, but ignore it. So meditation is great. But once again, I think it's important. Your thoughts are important. Yeah.
For self-awareness, it's not. Okay, got it. I like that, because I've always, I don't know, I'll get like with new things, when I try new things, I try and figure them out. And you're right, like meditation is all about like kind of clearing your mind and like in a way thinking of nothing. But then with me being me, I start thinking of something. Because, like, I can't just think of nothing. Like, there's just no, like, I still haven't reached that point where I can reach, like, nothingness and be okay. Like, I always am thinking of, something's always moving in this head of mine.
I think the problem is that in English, when you have the verb meditate on something, it says it means thinking about something, when actually meditation is not about thinking. And I think that's if people don't see the difference between thinking session and meditation, which are completely two different things.
Yeah, completely. It actually is. Yeah, I'm listening. I listen to your tips and I actually love them. I feel like my tips are like, again, because you're like, to me, you're low-key like the master and I'm like low-key the student. So like for me, all my tips I have for me was asking yourself questions to figure out what you personally like need, which you already talked about. And for me, journaling helps me, especially like on my bad days, and just like asking if you suck at asking yourself questions, which I never did. What has helped me become more self-aware and to get more comfortable with it is actually like putting a question and just journaling it and just, like thinking about it. Not even having to journal about it, but just writing that question and thinking on it has really helped. So if you want to get, let's say, better at self-awareness and better at asking yourself questions, just looking up a question a day and like thinking about it, or like sitting here and being like, okay, like those self-reflection questions of like, how am I? What do I need? It's just thinking of those and being like, oh, what do I need? Oh, I need this, this, and this. Or actually, how am I? Because I feel like we can kind of forget. I also put mindset is a big thing about self-awareness, because again, if you're not like your best friend, like you said. If you're not your friend and you have a negative mindset towards yourself and towards everything, that can really affect the self-awareness. I feel like for me, of course, it has affected me with my mindset, because sometimes when I get depressed, I can shut down on myself sometimes, and having that good mindset really can save me sometimes.
Yeah, I think what's helpful in meditation, actually, where are we talking? I think the thing about meditation, which is actually good, is that it teaches you to notice your thoughts and not be judgmental. So you start thinking about, whatever it is, your plans for next day. And you have to notice that you're thinking about it, and you have to not you cannot think that, oh, it's good, or oh, it's bad that I did it. You just notice and you say, okay, there are thoughts here, and then you come back to your breath, and that's meditation. And I think that is cool, because you have to learn not to have that judgment. So you're not in meditation, you don't even say I am thinking. You're saying there are thoughts here. When you feel anger, you're saying you're not saying I'm angry. You're saying there is anger here. So in self-awareness, meditation is helpful, because you have to learn to not make these claims that are attached to your being. It's not like you're feeling anger, there is anger here, and you are not attached to this feeling, to this emotion. The emotion is a thing that you have under control, and it doesn't come from you. It's not a part of you. Anger is not a part of you, and not like I am angry. No, you're not angry. You're Julia, you're a cat. You're not angry. There is anger, and I think that is very helpful about meditation. So once again, meditation is great, but I think it's a little bit for the people who get a little bit of practice first.
Yeah, like you said, to each their own. Everyone has to figure out what they want, because that's literally like what it is. Like what I like may be not what you like, may not be what like this other person likes, or they may love it. And it's just taking that time. Like really, like at the end of the day, like self-awareness is taking that time for yourself to figure out what you need, and not judging yourself for what you need. And that's like a big thing about it, because if you can sit here and ask yourself what you need, and you can sit here and not judge yourself for what you need, and actually take action on that, then you're in a way doing great with self-awareness and taking care of yourself. But these tips and tricks are just to help you guys like on your journey to kind of figure out self-awareness and get better at it, because I know like I'm on a journey of self-awareness. You're on a journey, because there's still times where you can get stuck in a cycle, I guess you could say. I always call it like a negative cycle.
I mean, I am completely not perfect. If you want to talk about, I suck. Like, I'm struggling. Actually, no, I'm just starting my journey with meditation, and I'm actually like today I've actually picked up my journal just to write, I am struggling with my meditation, and I don't pick up my journal often. So if I did that, that means that I'm really struggling with it, because I am not seeing like big results. I see them like a bit, but then I kind of don't. And then I've been really struggling, because I came back to using social media after a month-long detox, and I've noticed that my meditation during that detox was so much better than it is right now. And I don't really want to quit social media forever, because it's my job and I need to use it, and it's a tool, and I cannot, like, I'm struggling with all of these things, and meditation is a tool, but I'm not perfect. I have a long way to go. So just so you know, no matter at what point of your journey, if you are just starting out, or if you are Dalai freaking Lama, there's still there's still a lot of room for improvement. I think even if you were Buddha, you still had a lot of things you could improve at.
I love that. I love this episode. I love that I did it with you. I love that all the knowledge you gave, because you gave much more knowledge than I would have ever been able to give about this topic. So I'm so grateful that you're here. And I don't want to end it, but like I know people don't probably want to hear us just ramble.
But the thing is, the great thing about podcasting is like you can end this conversation, you can save it, you can always return to it. And now after we end this conversation, which is recorded, now we're going to move on to our own little chat, which sadly you will not be able to hear, but still, you know, it's going to be great. And you can, you know, for all, like, you can text me every time. And for all the listeners, if you also want to text me, you can still do that. I'm, you know, the conversation doesn't have to end here for anyone. You know, we can chat later and the listeners can email us.
Yeah, I'm great at, like, in a way, when I get like sad or something, I'm great at disappearing. It's like a magic trick. I'm so good at it. And I feel like if I just maybe texted you, maybe while this was happening, I would have probably felt better. So it's also, if you kind of, like, I don't know, what's the word? If you kind of can, like, relate with me about this is to anyone who's listening to this, on the disappearing and just, like, not really, like, putting your problems on other people. Like, that's why you have friends. Friends are here to help you. Friends are here to give you the true advice, like, you should be giving to them. So I would say, if you're like me in any way, shape, or form, or you relate with me, just sitting there and telling a friend about your problems can really just help you out a lot, because this episode today has helped me out a bunch with just what I've been dealing with. So I'm grateful to this episode. I'm grateful to you, Julia, especially to you. I'm grateful for this podcast, because this is why I created this podcast.
It's growing.
Yes,
Kat. You're growing. We're growing with you.
We're all growing.
It's in the name.
So you have given so much knowledge, so much advice, but do you have any advice for people who are struggling with self-awareness? Just any little thing that you can give them, or have you given us everything?
Well, I'm trying to think. I think I would just say, you know, be kind to yourself. That's the first thing. It's hard, and that's what I'm struggling with, and I'm not perfect, and I'm still really harsh to myself, but creating a space inside your brain that is kind, that is not judgmental, and that is safe. It's a safe space for your subconscious. It's a way for your awareness to bloom like a flower. So I guess that's like the biggest tip, if I were to be honest. You know, you have all these tips and tricks that I was talking about, but it's also,
you trust me, you gave me so much. You literally, like, I when I asked this question of, like, she probably has given me everything. I think we've repeated ourselves at least a amount of times.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing, like, okay, I actually still have one thing. So, you know, self-awareness is about asking why you feel something, and it's also worth asking yourself why you are not self-aware. I cannot answer that for you, but like I said, maybe it's scary, maybe you are scared, maybe you are whatever, but you know, just ask yourself why that has not been the case for you.
Okay, so I loved having you here. I hope you all have loved having her here. So I hope you guys enjoyed Julia on this podcast. Let me know if you would like to see her more on it, because I would definitely love to see her more on it. I will leave all her stuff in the link down below. And yeah, so bye guys.
Bye.
So to wrap it all up, I hope you enjoyed this episode all about self-awareness. I am so grateful for Julia being on this podcast, and I'm just so grateful for the value and the knowledge that oh my god, this was an amazing episode. This literally was, like, I'm speechless. Thank you, Julia, if you're listening to this. You were bomb. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much for getting me out of the rut I was in, because I truly, truly appreciate it. You do not know how much I needed to just talk with you, especially, and just thank you. I am so grateful for you listening to this episode and to future episodes. Stay tuned for the next episodes, because next month is all about balance, but I'll talk more about that on the For Real Friday. Remember, you can order your own 2021 New Year, New Intentions workbook for 20% off by clicking the link in my bio. This workbook is an interactive, downloadable workbook designed to help you create intentions for the new year and keep you on track monthly, weekly, and daily when it comes to creating the life you desire. If you would like to support me and you loved my energy, then a rate, review, and just sharing this podcast to someone you may think needs to hear it really goes a long way, and I truly appreciate it all from the bottom of my heart. You can also support me by following me on all my social media platforms, and if you do, let me know what video you came from. Please remember that I just speak on what has helped me on my journey and that I'm not a doctor at all, and always remember, you got this, you're amazing, and I cannot wait to see you on Friday for the next For Real Friday and the last episode of this month. Again, and thank you for Julia for making this episode so amazing. And yeah, bye guys.